Russia has begun using North Korean artillery systems on the front, indicating Russia's increasingly critical situation with artillery systems and its dependence on imported weapons, said Colonel Ants Kiviselg, head of the Estonian Defense Forces Intelligence Center. According to ERR media outlet, Kiviselg said at a press conference of the Ministry of Defense that in the 151st week of the war, the previously established trends are continuing, with Russian troops continuing to maintain the tactical initiative. Although Russia has been able to tactically strengthen its military potential, it has not managed to achieve complete superiority, which would give it the opportunity for diplomatic pressure. Therefore, at present, the Russian Federation is not interested in ending military actions and continues offensive operations, Kiviselg said. The main military actions are taking place in the Donetsk region, in the Pokrovsk direction, where Russian troops are trying to advance in the western and eastern directions from the city. Although the pace of advance has slowed, offensive pressure remains high, with an average of 164 attacks per day occurring across the entire front. Apparently, Russia is trying to take advantage of the last weeks of freezing winter weather, which allows the use of armoured vehicles on frozen terrain. However, this winter has turned out to be milder than expected, so Russian troops are forced to use roads to move their equipment. This simplifies the work of the Ukrainian armed forces in repelling attacks, Kiviselg noted. The reorganization of North Korean units operating in the Kherson region has not produced significant results, the head of the intelligence center added. Kiviselg noted that the most notable tactical observation was the appearance of North Korean artillery systems on the front line as part of Russian units. Kiviselg added that Ukraine's rapidly adapting and technically more effective defense is withstanding massive enemy pressure and gradually undermining its offensive capabilities. At the same time, Ukraine continues to strike key Russian infrastructure facilities. Over the past week, Ukraine has increased the number of strikes on Russian fuel and chemical industry enterprises, Kiviselg said.
Ukrainian soldiers fighting in Kursk describe North Koreans previously dubbed cannon fodder that will defect as soon as they get to fight as highly skilled, fearless and motivated infantry. They have been blowing themselves up when they see capture in sight. Lieutenant Colonel Yaroslav Chepurny, a spokesman of the Ukrainian army, told Politico. Ukrainian soldiers describe the North Korean soldiers as being very far from inexperienced cannon fodder. They are young, motivated, physically fit, brave and good at using small arms. They are also disciplined. They have everything you need for a good infantryman, Chepurny said. Yuri Bondar, a Ukrainian soldier with the 80th Separate Airborne Assault Brigade, said North Korean soldiers have extremely good physical training and have stable morale. The enemy does not surrender. They eliminate themselves according to the same scheme, a grenade near the head, and go. Those who remain on the battlefield are doused with flammable liquid and burned, Bondar said. Captured Russian soldiers have reported that North Korean military personnel receive better training and equipment compared to Russian contract soldiers for combat operations in the Kursk region. Senior Sergeant Petro Haidashchuk of the 80th Separate Air Assault Brigade shared these insights during an interview with Espresso TV. While our brigade has not yet captured any North Korean soldiers, Russian prisoners have said they underwent training alongside North Korean military personnel. The captives indicated that the North Koreans were easily distinguishable and received superior training and equipment compared to Russian contract soldiers, he said. The main task assigned to the North Koreans was to carry out assault operations, while Russian forces were expected to secure positions after any gains, Haydashchuk added. Additionally, the Russian captives mentioned that during training they were kept separate from the North Korean soldiers with no interaction beyond joint combat activities. This segregation was due to language barriers and deliberate isolation in living and dining arrangements. The attitude of the occupying Russian forces to the North Koreans is unclear. According to the captured Russians, they have not had any contact with them. First, there is a language barrier between them. Secondly, North Koreans live, eat, and do everything completely separated from the Russian invaders. They have no joint actions except for combat, he added. These revelations come amid reports that Ukrainian Defense Forces have captured 2 wounded North Korean soldiers during battles in Russia's Kursk region. The captured individuals have been transported to Kyiv for further investigation. In response to these developments, President Volodymyr Zelinsky stated on January the 12th that Ukraine is willing to repatriate captured North Korean soldiers if Kim Jong-un can facilitate the return of Ukrainian soldiers held by Russia. The Kremlin has declined to comment on Zelensky's proposal. Ukraine's security service is continuing to interrogate 2 North Korean soldiers captured as prisoners of war in the Kursk region. Ukraine's elite forces continue to fight against both Russian and North Korean regular troops to keep a part of the Kursk region that Kyiv captured in a surprise offensive in August. The Ukrainian army launched another counter-offensive there on January the 5th. Some 12,000 North Korean troops reportedly joined the fight against Ukraine on the Kremlin side at the end of October to help push the Ukrainians out of Russia. Around 300 North Korean soldiers have been killed and 2,700 wounded so far in the fight against Ukraine, the South Korean government in Seoul said.
President Volodymyr Zelinsky participated on Friday in an award ceremony for Ukrainian soldiers. During the ceremony in Kiev, Zelenski awarded members of the military for capturing soldiers from North Korea in the Kursk region. Ukrainians have to defend themselves also against Koreans, who were sent here, more than 6,000 kilometers away, to destroy our lives and our country, he said. According to Associated Press, the Ukrainian leader said on his social media that awards were presented to members of the 95th Separate Air Assault Brigade and soldiers of the Separate Center for Special Operations, West, named after Prince Izyaslav Mstislavich.
Панове солдати, сержанти, офіцери та генерали.
Слава Україні! Ми відзначаємо державними нагородами України наших воїнів, звання Герой України. Бачили мільйони українців. Героїчний бій нашого бійця. Зірцева. Сьогодні ж ми відзначаємо орденами наших воїнів, яким вдалося взяти в полон перших солдатів з Північної Кореї на Курському напрямку. Українці змушені оборонятися ще й проти корейців, яких перекинули сюди за понад 6 тисяч кілометрів, перекинули, щоб знищувати наше життя і нашу державу. Я пишаюсь всіма нашими хлопцями, кожним українським воїнам, які захищають свій дім від цієї навали щоденно. Дякую.
Служу українському народу.
Дякую.
Служу українському народу.
Дякую за службу. Дякую вам.
Служу українському народу.
Дякую. Дякую вам. Дякую за службу.
Служу українському народу.
Дякую.
Президент України Володимир Зеленський.